transition to the game.
I'm excited for this. My original DOS run is so short. There's not much time to talk about the magic behind how Mega Man DOS games came to be.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your commentary, and I think that this will be good.
So I will give you guys the full story of this game. Steve Rosner was the person who programmed not only Mega Man DOS 1, but Mega Man DOS 2. This game was originally going to be an entirely different game called Eco Man, where you were in a hazmat suit and you were exploring non-linear levels on an oil rig and ship. And then he pitched it to High Tech Expression, who were the people who tried to run the first Mega Man DOS game. They published it, and they said, can you still make that a Mega Man game and reskin it? And somehow he convinced Capcom to do so, and that's why we have Mega Man 3 DOS, with a lot of weird swimming. More swimming than I think any other Mega Man game. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Mega Man is made out of metal, so he usually just sinks. So,
Right? And instead, he just floats around. There is a lot of swimming in this guy.
yeah, it's very impressive. Okay, well, before, I think we're gonna get started. So, Grill, how about you count down Chrissy, and I will start the timer.
All right, let's go in 3, 2, 1. Woo! Let's hope. Get this game rolling.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Another quick fun fact here. Steve and William Rosner which is his brother, tried to make a game called NFL Heroes where you traveled through time as a boy or a girl and you were helped out along the way by NFL mascots that each had different superpowers to aid you. Thankfully, that did not become Mega Man DOS 5. It also never became a thing, which is very sad. Now, this right here, as you guys can see, I mentioned there's a lot of swimming. The swimming in this game is not easy. Water physics are really weird, and I mean, look at that sprite. Look at that sprite trying to swim. However, he's doing a really great job avoiding most obstacles and actually getting through everything right now. This is a great start. You don't want to hit the spikes because, losing your health. You want to try to keep swimming as best as you can without getting hit too much. And as you can see, even just trying to go from one side to another, it's a very slippery water. It's almost like you're swimming through ice, which makes absolutely no sense, but that's the best way to describe it, having played it. Like games and levels where you slide on things, that's what it feels like when you're in the water, and it's very confusing. And as you can also see too, from all getting those spike hits and general stuff, getting one hit, you get bounced around quite a bit. So Chrissy's doing a very impressive job getting through this game. Let's see here. I know I hopefully have some more fun Mega Man DOS facts in general. Let me see here. I basically wrote up a list. These guys also made an incredibly faithful demo to try to put Super Mario Bros. 3 on DOS. So, I mean, maybe Mario could have suffered some of that similar pain had it not been a lucky day. But as you can see, there's a lot of remnants from where the game was originally supposed to be. Again, you were just supposed to originally be in a hazmat suit going through this sunken oil ship and trying to, clean things up and save the day. And instead, Mega Man. And at the time when this Mega Man game was made, just the same as the first game. Oh, as we're going to go into the quick Sharkman fight here, there's, to my knowledge, nothing very exciting and fancy to do during this fight except shoot him as he jumps over you. As you can see, he's not doing anything very difficult to try to ruin your day by any means. So there's no hope. Instant death. There we go. Nice, easy kill for Sharkman. And this little screen, too, of course, would have been very different. These are very reminiscent of what the game was originally going to be. And you get to see everything else. And now you get the Shark Boomerang, which I know the Shark Boomerang is relatively useful. I run this game a little on the side, like now and then. Like I've been trying to practice it off stream and all of that. But So I apologize if my knowledge isn't perfect. They needed commentary, and I had to be there. Just being a little patient here. Look at that little guy in that hazmat suit. I wonder who you would have played as had the game come out originally. Sprites getting repurposed are always useful, right, guys? As you can see, by the way, also, Mega Man DOS 3 runs a lot faster than the original Mega Man DOS when it comes to the speed run. We are allowed to set our cycle speeds in DOSBox, which is what most people used to emulate. If anyone wants to play this on original hardware and then somehow magically stream it, please, I would love to see that. But this game is set to a slightly different cycle length than the one that I ran a little bit earlier because it gives it closer to the original feel of what the game was like when you were playing it. So we're trying to make it as close in emulation to the normal game as possible. But unless someone, of course, hands us a copy of Mega Man DOS 3 and gives us a legit DOS computer to run it on and somehow like record, you know, it will be hard for us to ever be able to show you the exact true glory. But this is really incredibly close. If I remember right, it's a really odd number too. I think it's like something like 1,099. Like there's definitely like an odd number right at the end for what we have to do. And jumps in general in this are very scary because you can see there's bullets flying everywhere. We have oil that drips for no reason. Guns that sometimes you can't actually shoot and get rid of because this is Mega Man DOS 3. I will say this, if you've never tried the Mega Man DOS game, DOSBox is a free DOS emulator. Mega Man DOS and Mega Man DOS 3, I am fairly certain, are available free on My Abandonware because, I mean, the game at this point has just been incredibly abandoned. I mean, it is an official Capcom title, but Capcom is not really doing anything to try to protect it or do something with it. Now, this one's a little bit harder because, as you can see, the boomerang is the weakness for this boss. But he jumps around a bit more, and with boomerang physics, it's a bit of a pain in the butt to be able to hit things. But Chrissy, yet again, expertly felling our foes and getting the water shooter. Now we're going to go over to Torchman. At least I'm pretty sure. I feel like it is. I just want you all to imagine, too, I've run into a lot of people who played Mega Man DOS games as a kid. It surprised me how many would come into my stream and say, hey, I played that as a kid. And I'm sure that there's got to be at least someone in here who's like, I remember DOS 3. That's weird. I will say this. Imagine if this was your only ever experience with Mega Man, and this is what you always knew of for that famous title. It's a crazy world out there, everyone. Be thankful that you had all of your other game systems to potentially work with. As you can see, too, some of these games have some very unique takes on what the bosses originally looked like, too, through either sprite artwork or just in general. They made them look really weird. We don't have the holding down to try to boost our power up for shooting either. There is definitely no sliding, though I know sliding was introduced in later Mega Man games. And there's not a lot. We're stuck with the bare minimal Mega Man possibilities when running through this. And so far, we're having an amazing job here. As you can see, that gun on that particular platform is really, really difficult to get around. They really wanted to make this game tough, for sure. I don't know if it was just originally that Eco Man was supposed to be a crazy hard game, and I know that Mega Man games aren't known for being easy by any means. But man, do they really go out of their way. Did Steve go out of his way to make this game really hard? I don't know why I'm saying they. It was a one-man project. I have to say, you guys, you have to admit, there's so many people who are talented and making games with one person in indie game studios. I want you to imagine that's what this guy did. That's what Steve Osner did when he tried to program this game. He had one person, his skills. You can see there's some reused assets that we kind of saw in DOS 1 for some of the tiles and patterns and stuff. And there we go, a quick little health pickup just for safety because they're particularly low on health right now. Those guns just got them really bad. Thankfully, for some reason, Torchman is in a level with a bunch of waterfalls. Why? I don't know. Wiley really wasn't on top of his game right now. Now, this is not a Capcom game that Capcom put out itself. This game was published by, I have to try to remember the name here, but I know the name. Come on, Lynn. This was published by as you can also notice, there's no music in this game. So, High Tech Expression. There we go. This is published by High Tech Expression. However, the use of Mega Man in this game is actually approved by Capcom. So this is incredibly, incredibly weird. The original Mega Man DOS was also a completely legal Capcom and like produce, like they didn't publish it either, but it was an official Capcom project. Like they endorsed it. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh man, more mosquitoes. Man, Steve Hosner knows how to make some deadly, deadly mosquitoes. Ooh, that jump just barely missed. Thankfully, as you guys can see, there is a little bit of mercy right there. There's a bit of a checkpoint, so that's not too bad. But yes, this game does not have music. A lot of DOS games, when they were released, did not have soundtracks back in the day, because partially sometimes A, because there just wasn't enough room to make that happen, or B, the project was low budget and didn't manage to be able to have a full bit of sound. And in this case, I don't know which one it is. I know in Mega Man DOS 1, there wasn't enough room to be able to put in music, so all we got was sound effects. But I mean, I can try to sing some Mega Man tunes for you if you absolutely need some tunes. Yes. Yeah, another interesting thing about this game, there's no exact intro level. I mean, Mega Man DOS 1, maybe he learned his lesson about creating a basically invincible dog to try to kill. But of an invincible dog that will respawn instantaneously upon death. So there's no intro levels, but yeah, we don't really get any premise. We're just thrown right into the game. Boom, down. Time for Mega Man to get to work. Now here's a little bit of a scary jumping section. As you can see, there's a tank up there, but I'm pretty sure, even with Marathon, it's not going to be easy to go up and get that. So probably not going to happen. We got our Torchman power-up ready to go. It's very interesting you doing that menu, by the way, because it does completely pause the game, but to my knowledge, there is no really good aspects, unlike some of the other games that you've seen, to using the pause in some way to help yourself. This boss isn't as bad, thankfully. You just have to try to get in at least 2 hits there on each dive, and then you can get those fast cycling through there to get the kill. Yet again, good job for Chrissy there doing this.
Hey, do you have time for a donation?
Well, I think we absolutely do. I'm mostly improvising with what little knowledge I have of the game.
Okay. I have $20 from Belthagor, who says, "Great marathon, great experience." Thanks, Bell.
That I absolutely have to agree with, guys. And again, I know that especially when we're having technical difficulties, you all got to see a lot of and hear about a lot of the incentives we have going on at this event. You should definitely check those out. We have another swimming level here too, but there are some great incentives going on that you can donate towards. Get your name in games, potentially enhance the game and run that you are watching. So you can see too, they decided to really be cruel and put some things in there to bounce you into those spikes. The swimming portions of this game are particularly devilish, not just because of the physics, but because, man, they decided to make those incredibly difficult. Considering this is a DOS title, though, I will have to give him a little bit of credit that the graphics for a DOS title are pretty impressive. There are definitely DOS games that I've seen that look far worse. We also have fans too, so with the already incredibly difficult water physics, you also have to fight against fans in certain sections, blowing the water in various directions and trying to blow Mega Man around. In Mega Man DOS, the first level, you notice that there are a lot of pipes like this similar that also have fans that do nothing. That was because in that game there was going to be water, because I mean the final boss is in water and everything else basically. He is highly water themed, but the water was just never added. He just didn't get around to it. Game needed to come out, and thank everything for that, because wow, water physics in Mega Man DOS, they are truly a special form of torture.
I really have never seen Mega Man swim so much.
Yes, I know that he swims a little bit, I think, in a couple other games, but this game by far is the most Mega Man swimming, and unfortunately, because he made a different character model originally. Using his original DOS model here on top of that instead makes the swimming look very awkward. It makes Mega Man's head look really, really big. And for some reason, water dripping is enough to damage Mega Man, even though he's been swimming this entire time, guys. For some reason, that's what gets you.
I mean, maybe it's just like getting on his socks. And I assume that he takes off his socks before he gets in the water. But
he must. I mean, if he gets soggy socks.
If I step on some water while I'm wearing socks, that's basically like 4 points of damage to my life essence as a human. So
Also, as you guys can see, there's some really weird enemies in this section. That's a particularly really difficult thing to climb up. So I'm going to again give Chrissy some serious props. Those couple falling down, if you guys tried to play this, you have no idea. This is insane. But you'll see there's a lot less robot enemies and a lot more enemies that are like plants or things similar. So this is a Mega Man game that is also very unique for where we're not really fighting a lot of bots that Wily sent out. And it's also incredibly hard to manage to get onto this platform with how the gun likes to shoot. It's not like a normal gun. It's a gun that after the shot goes, it ricochets a tiny bit. There's a couple of weapons like that in Mega Man DOS too, but there's like the nails that fall down, but they're very uncommon, thankfully. And we have a force field to prevent them, but unfortunately Chrissy does not have a force field. And okay, that was an amazing save here. Trying to get those killed, get a couple good drops, hopefully a little bit of a health drop. This is just like other Mega Man games. You can get different levels of health drops. It's basically completely RNG to my knowledge. And yet again, now we have to do some swimming. We're at the boss. Let's see if we get a crazy, crazy good boss fight. Not a lot of health left, so I'm going to have a lot of hope for Chrissy here. All right, that's all right. They're not too far back to get back, so it's just a couple jumps away and getting past a couple unfun nail throwing. At least those are the exact same sprites as the nails in Mega Man DOS 1. I doubt that a random creature from the ocean is actually throwing nails, but I mean, this is supposed to take place entirely on a sunken ship. There is no real story, so I don't know if, Wily decided to sink an oil barge and Mega Man just decided to actually be like, let's clear this thing out. But that's the game. No, they seem like they would be very dangerous, but I guess that's why they kept Torchman in a level where there's a ton of water. Literally, when you fight him as a boss, there's waterfalls and a pool of water, which is just like, okay, is that to not blow up the ship? Who knows? And it's really interesting, too, because, again, you get to see a lot of the remnants of this being in a game that definitely had some ecological themes, but we don't get to see what the bosses originally were before they were the robots. So no idea if those bosses fight the same or if he tried to change them to be in more Mega Man fashion. Unfortunately, Steve has only done a couple of interviews ever about these games, so we actually have very limited knowledge. And I don't even know how people found him for an interview. I've wanted to talk to him just about Mega Man DOS to understand some of the mechanics that are incredibly difficult. So if anyone out there magically knows him, please send him our way just so we can get some amazing Mega Man history going. Also, that was an amazing dodge of that bullet just right next to them. As you can notice, sometimes even though something should probably be hitting you, if you're back facing in the DOS games, your hitbox is slightly different, so that a lot of stuff won't actually end up damaging you. It's a very odd little nuance to the game. I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it is very nice at times for speedrunning to try to avoid certain things trying to hit us or make certain boss fights a tiny bit easier. And there we go, a little bit of safety strat there to get a little bit of extra health. Probably a good idea. There's DOS Mega Man games are also notoriously a little bit evil for not giving you checkpoints sometimes, and they really should have them. As you know, as I had in my run, when I accidentally fell into those spikes, that's almost all the way back to like near the beginning of the level. There's nothing you can do. It's just there. And these guys in this game, in the original Mega Man DOS, those friends with the shields there, they can. There's basically no way to kill them. No matter what, there's just no way to get the timing proper to shoot them. I've never been able to manage it, at least, and I've been trying very hard. That's an unfortunate death, but thankfully we're not put too far back. But in this game, it's possible. And again, as you can see on the screen, whenever you see those fun little yellow guys going around, that's the original sprite that you're going to be playing as. You're going to be playing as Eco Man. But instead of completely wasting the sprite, they decided to make it a character in the game that you could fight instead as an enemy. So that would have been Mega Man. But somehow they convinced, after Mega Man DOS 1, which, I mean, you guys, we've seen so many Mega Man's collection games. Why haven't we seen DOS 1 on there? I feel like the Mega Man DOS games have never gotten their proper credit and memory from Capcom, which is what makes it incredibly more interesting that somehow they convinced them to let them make another one. So I got to give Steve Wonder some serious credit for being impressive there. And these are all of the water effects that we have seen from earlier. And again, there's a really evil mosquito, and we're trying to get here through oil. That was probably a really good grab quickly for the extra life, just because we've had a few deaths. Normally in even the original Mega Man DOS, trying to get through the game without dying is incredibly difficult. When you're first learning the run, you should expect one death on the first level and literally strategize around it. Which was what happened to me in my run. Unfortunately, unless you play to absolute, crazy patience and perfection, it takes way too long to wait to not take damage in certain sections. So you just kind of have to expect it in a marathon run, because the fish manipulation in that game is not always fun. Some of the enemy manipulation in this game is also, from what I can see and from my occasional casual playthroughs, incredibly strange. Sometimes you think it's completely RNG, but it's just, well, maybe you jumped 2 or 3 times at the beginning of this level, so now we're going to attack you this way. It can be incredibly odd, but to my knowledge, it is not RNG and it is tracking. As you can see here, Chrissy is taking their time to make sure that they'll be able to get this jump and get it over safely, not trying to dodge too many things. We've got quite a few things to do here on our PBS Vault. This is not an official PBS program of Mega Man, but it is fun how all the specials read out for that. We have to do the classic let's fight all the bosses kind of scene here. Although in this game it's a little more fun because we just get to kind of do it in one giant level. Same thing for Mega Man DOS 1, as you guys saw earlier. We just kind of go through a couple minor obstacles that aren't fun, but they're definitely not impossible. In DOS 1, there was plenty of power-ups and healing to try to save the day if you were taking a lot of damage. In this one, not as forgiving, so it can be very difficult. Yes, Volt is definitely the best PBS station here. Now that we have an actual super effective item to try to use against Sharkman, again, all we have to do is these jumping, although the jumping is a little different now. Sharkman actually throws out their boomerang. You notice in the first fight, Sharkman didn't. Why? Who knows? Maybe just trying to make the game a little easier for people at the beginning. And we don't want to use too many of our power-ups as we're going through these boss levels either, because as you can notice, has there been anything to get them back? No. Now, I'm not sure in this game. I admit through my practice sessions, I have not managed to get to the very end yet. However, in Mega Man DOS 1, there is a really nice section that gives you a bunch of bonus health and power-ups if you absolutely need them. I do not know if that even exists in this game, so Chrissy is doing a phenomenal job managing to get through this without too much death. As you can notice too, unlike the traditional kinds of doors, we have these little we have these little hangar kind of things that you would see on a sunken oil ship of some kind, which is also good because as I mentioned earlier in Mega Man DOS 1, you can sometimes glitch through the doors and just totally wreck your game and make it about impossible to continue. So these doors existing the way they do is much nicer, although him floating slowly through them is incredibly odd. I see in the chat, Elmo says, "Rose is back, yeah!" And I mean, that's impressive.
Oh my god, that is such a good Elmo impression!
Oh no, okay, so next year for Powered Up with Pride, I have to play a Sesame Street game. Got it.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
This is good, and you need to give all the commentary, or someone else needs to play it so you can give full commentary as Elmo.
I would be incredibly down for that.
Okay.
But I gotta interact with the chat here a little bit. As again, I can mention truthfully, Chrissy is the expert on this game. I'm the next closest thing we have to someone who knows about Mega Man DOS, so I'm providing commentary. All the credits going to Chrissy for this run and being able to be the best master of this game. I know that Chrissy is the current world record holder, and to practice this game enough to have a serious world record in this game is a lot of work.
Yeah.
This time we get to enjoy.
Because you said you have world record in MM1 DOS, right?
Yes, I do, and that took me over 300 attempts to be able to get the world record in MM-DOS 1. Dang. The other people who ran MM-DOS 1 have done an amazing job, and there's, oh no, a little bit of a death. I was going to say we were about to get to an energy tank, but thankfully, as you notice, we're not sent back too far. We're going to get that energy tank there as a safety strat, assuming, basically, because we're in Marathon, we could use the extra health. But this is a very, very difficult game, and DOS is difficult in general. The other people who ran this game are amazing. If you want to steal my world record from me in DOS 1, go for it. There's at least 5 seconds or so to shave off that time still. My world record made a mistake on one of the bosses, and I ran out of power-up, which is why, as I noticed, when you're going through these boss fights, you really In the DOS games, it's really difficult because you have to keep so much power up to get through each boss, and then you got to fight Wily. So if you need that particular power up to be able to beat Wily a little bit faster, you have to be extra crazy careful, and it can be very difficult. Because as of I'm seeing so far, we may have gotten an energy tank, but we've had nothing to help out our PBS Walt. Unfortunately, the original DOS does not have PBS Walt. It only has 3 power-ups. And one of them should never ever be used. I still very much am declaring that Mega Man DOS 1 has the worst Mega Man addition for weapons in the entire game, where it drops dynamite, it doesn't explode for 5 seconds. All it can do in the game is give you 1 energy tank. If you go and beat it without having the power up to be able to help you out, the weapon is basically physically incapable of hitting that boss. But I mean, it's DOS Mega Man, so I try to crap on the game, but this is a one-man design team making a Mega Man in the DOS days where there wasn't as much, there wasn't as much intense documentation for all those people who are trying to make games now. Okay, and as you can notice here, this actually does have some power-ups and some health boosts, but it's actually right in the boss fight, so you have to decide when you want them. That's incredibly interesting. This is I've watched the game be beaten before, but I've never personally been able to actually take it down. As you can see there too, that happened right there. How the character was able to move and be kind of invisible. That can happen in DOS 1 as well, and it's incredibly a pain in the butt. There's not much we can do about it. Now we're going to head here into this really tough final battle. Thankfully, we still have an energy tank, and as you can see, this is the hardest fight ever. As we throw a specific item at Wily, as he pops out of acid for some reason. He even when he's not a robot, he can just dip down into acid. He is just one old stubborn fart. Here we go, guys, and with Wily defeated, I'm pretty sure that's time. There we go. Time in the DOS games always ends. This is the exact same screen from Mega Man DOS 1, by the way, in case you're interested. The end screen.
Time, then.
Yeah, that was a great run. Everyone definitely throw some love to Chrissy. Do some sweet donations in here.
Oh, wow, design
for
programming
your various
sound,
incentives.
Steven Rosner and graphics William Rosner. So it's
yes, they were a brother team on this one. I think I'm pretty sure the first one was only Steven, and then his brother helped him with graphics on the second game.
Yeah,
and all of the other games he eventually went on to.
That's amazing.
It is impressive considering. I mean, we like to trash on this game, but it does have its own unique fun. And apparently that's only this was only 1 minute off of the world record, guys. So that was an impressive run. You guys get to really see the game done really well.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, you can tell from watching it that the platforming is and the movement is very hard, like you were saying before, Grill.
Yeah. Yes, it's definitely different than any other Mega Man game. If you want to get used to this game and you have prepare to throw it all away because it's just not the same.
Yeah, just like taking the very smooth, tight controls. That's what I was looking for. The very tight controls.
They are definitely not tight controls from the other Mega Man games.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in to PBS WOLT, News Jazz NPR. Next up, we've got Mega Man X2, Any Percent Race, featuring me and Zets27. So that's Ariel and Zets27. I'm extremely nervous for it. Stay
You've
tuned.
got this.
PBS WOLT. And we'll be switching restreamers, I believe. So,